What is going on, everyone? Today I'm coming at you with some body weight exercises only for the lower body. Absolutely no equipment necessary, just the floor that you are standing on. And today we are going to focus more just our strength, like we've been for the most part in this past series of videos. That means we're not going to cover a lot of power exercises. So sprinting, jumping, single leg jumps, anything like that, we're not going to cover today because that can be a huge video on its own. And there are definitely things you should be working on because they are awesome for the body. But we're not going to cover them today. We are going to cover mostly a little bit slower paced exercises. We're going to get everything though, front side, back side, inside, outside of the legs, and hope you like them. If you do, make sure to give a like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you get the future videos. Push that little bell button as well so you get notified of the videos coming out. That said, we're going to get into some warm-up exercises here first.
We start our warm-up with a little bit of flexibility work, starting with the hamstrings, legs with a wide stance, knees stay straight, hips go back as we reach across to each foot, standing in between 10 times each side. Then we take a huge step back, back knees stay straight, sinking into the floor, rotate left, rotate right, reach up and back as far as you can, and repeat. We're getting into some hip flexors and thoracic motions. Then we get into some hamstring and glute work here with a single leg reach. Keep those pelvis square with the floor, 10 each side. And then we get frog pumps, also the shoes together. Squeeze the butt cheeks, clench them tight at the top each time, 20 reps.
So as I said earlier, we are going to focus on strength building today. And my recommendation to use for these exercises is going to be using time frames. So 20 to 45 seconds of work, just continuous movement as best as you can. If an exercise is too easy, just bang them out, bam, 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 for 45 seconds. Make sure you make it a little bit more challenging. I'll give you some different variations of ways to make things a little bit harder for each exercise as possible. Today, and we're going to start with our two hardest movements that are going to be the most challenging if we do them as I show them. So we're going to start with a little lunge variation and a little bit of hamstring work. So we're going to do the front side and the back side of the legs. Now the first one here is going to be our airborne lunge. I'll show you the standard variation how to do it. Now if we imagine stepping back into a lunge, imagine the same motion, but now that back foot's going to stay off the floor. Now I'm going to make this look pretty, a little bit easy, but it's a lot harder than it looks, at least for most people. So instead of stepping down, that foot stays up, knee touches the ground, and then I come up, I can put that foot back down. Touch, and then back up. So notice I'm staying on that one leg the whole way up and down through the motion. Now that's going to be too challenging, which is going to be the case for most people, so don't feel bad. You're not a bad person, you're not too weak if you can't do it like that. My shoelaces are coming down on the floor and then coming back up. Now my bottom position is the hardest, so really challenge yourself as far as you can before putting the shoelaces down and then coming back up.
As this is a self-assisted exercise, you have to stay very honest with yourself and really make yourself work hard through the whole motion. I'm making it look a little bit easy here, but you should make it as challenging as you can every single repetition.
Next one, we're going to get into the hamstrings. So we're going to get our high crabs. Imagine we're doing a crab, just going up like this, a high crab position. We're going to do this with straight legs. Here, the feet point straight up. Have a slight knee bend the whole time, very slight as we do these. So we're going to squeeze up as far as we can, pushing the floor away from us so we open the chest at the top. Now, a lot of people are going to feel that one, but if you need to challenge it more, you can do this as one leg motion, which becomes a lot harder. Now, notice my foot there. I'm still keeping that foot pointing upwards. I'm not letting it go to the side. I'm not planting it down. So we always want to see the sole of the shoe.
If you try the single leg variation and you're barely able to get the hips up high enough to make a straight line with the body, then just stick with this double leg variation for a while and we're just working it a little bit longer time if necessary, maybe holding the top position a little bit more in order to build up the strength.
So we got our last 3 exercises here. Now that we've done those other 2 where you should be challenging yourself as much as possible every repetition, the leg muscles are a little bit more fatigued, so these are going to be harder, or they're going to feel harder than they normally would if you did them fresh. The first one is going to be a toe touch squat. Now, the toe touch squat is a mobility and strength exercise combined, working some strength endurance more than anything. Now here, our feet a little bit outside, hips width apart, feet fairly straight. We're going to grab our toes. All right, we're pretty much pressing down the fingers with our toes. The arms stay straight, and at the bottom, the arms are inside the knees. Now, if you can't keep your heels down here, that's fine. Bring the heels off the floor. Now, we bring the hips up. If you really fight for this, if you can't straighten your legs, that's okay. You're not a bad person. Hey, you're working the mobility right now. So we're just going up and down. Here, the arms stay straight. I gotta find where to keep my weight balanced the whole time so I don't flip forwards or backwards. Again, I'm pressing my fingers with my toes the whole time. You're gonna feel this one really burn. Our second exercise here is going to be a lateral squat or a lateral lunge. I'm going to show you both variations. The lateral squat is going to be a little bit easier than the lunge variation. So we're going to start with a pretty wide stance, feet turn about 45 degrees outwards. Now the feet stay in place, all right? So don't let them turn around or pivot like this, come off the floor with one side. From here, I'm going to push the hips back. I'm going to load one leg, so the knee's going to bend. And we're going to reach across. Come back up, other side. Now you've probably done this motion here, or you've seen people do it like this, where they just stay squared off forwards. Now that's pretty awkward. It feels weird when you do it, because you never do that in real life. It's not very athletic. But when you do this reaching motion, when you reach across, now you're moving the body a little bit closer to what it normally would be if you're playing any sports, just doing stuff athletically outside, moving a little bit more normal. And why don't we just train the way the body's supposed to move instead of being fully fixed in one position. Now if you need to make this harder, we can make it into a lateral lunge. That means I'm going to do one side at a time now. So after I load, as I come up, this leg still staying straight, I come back down. So it's a little bit more powerful, a little bit more dynamic, and I'm stepping about the same spot every time. I'm still reaching across the body, getting all that lateral force into it. All right, everyone, so the last exercise here in our strength series is going to be our Shin Box Hinge. Now, how to get into this position? Super easy. Start sitting on the floor, collapse into one side. So I'm going to sit on one butt cheek here. Now I'm just going to take that top leg, bring it back. Now from here, both knees are going to bend maximally. So this foot is all the way back, and this front foot is right up against that thigh. Now here, I'm going to keep a long spine, I'm going to lean, I'm going to reach the chest forward, not downwards, forwards, to load that hip, that butt area, and I'm going to press through that shin and knee. Now, a big mistake people do here is they don't just tap, they collapse down, so they put their whole weight back. We really want to lean into this, so we're working our mobility and strength of that outside hip at the same time. So I'm stretching under load, I'm coming back up. There has to be that torso lean, remember.
If your hip mobility is really limited, you may have trouble doing this one, so just get as deep down as you can. So that means start from the top and then go slow as deep as possible and then come right back up.
All right, folks, so that is it. Make sure you challenge yourself as much as you can with the time frames that you choose. So if you go slow, if you have to go slow through one exercise because it's very challenging, really focus on the technique. If it's pretty comfortable for you, get as many reps as you can with your time of work, or use less assistance, get more range of motion. So in that airborne lunge case, see if you can build up to using no back foot, no shoelace assistance at all. On those lateral squats, you go into those lateral lunges instead, stepping back and forth. So we're always trying to find ways how to make it harder without necessarily adding more time. Because just keep it at most 45 seconds of work for each exercise per side if you're doing that single leg variations. And that's it. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget, like, comment, any questions, subscribe, hit the notification button. I'm gonna get you one more in this body weight, absolutely no equipment necessary video. This next one's gonna be the core. Until then, take it easy.